Hey everyone, welcome to Intentional Conversations. Conversations designed to inspire you, to ignite something inside of you, and to empower you to live a more intentional life that's full of meaning, fulfillment, and impact. I'm so excited to be joined today by Rachel Bria. Rachel is a holistic wellness coach, and she works with female entrepreneurs to create better health, mind, body, and soul in order to achieve more success and to live their best life. I'm so excited to have her share her own journey as well as her mission with all of you. So come on in and join the conversation. Rachel, so great to have you here.
I am so happy to be here, Melanie. Thank you for inviting me on.
Of course, of course. So before we get started, I like to start with asking my guest, what does the word intention mean to you?
Living on purpose.
I love that. The simplicity and truth of it. I love that so much. Yes.
Yeah, I just feel like when you asked me that question, I'm like, on purpose. That's the first thing that came to my mind. So I said, why don't we just go with that because it feels right.
Yeah. And it's like, it can be on everything. Like, it's not even just, I think sometimes we hear purpose and it's like what we're doing in the world. But if we do everything with a purpose,
Right.
It's like doing everything with intention. I love that. That's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. So now I want to jump in. And I'd love for you to share something I talk about all the time is the hero's journey. And I think it's essential that we're always answering the call. And we have many hero's journeys over the span of our life, right? And it's the excitement of being human is answering that call and going through that whole transformation. And I know that you have a really unique hero's journey referent to the work that you're doing now. And so I would love for you to share that with all of us.
Yes. So my hero's journey began last March 2018. And before that, I thought I was living my purpose and being on purpose. I was a starving entrepreneur. I started a business that I thought was fulfilling my passion and my purpose. But I realized very quickly that I wasn't healthy on the inside, or emotionally or mentally. And when you continue that over time without healing from a root cause, you begin to have symptoms or start to internalize differently. So in March of 2018, I actually was introduced to the holistic health space through my holistic doctor, Dr. Dana McGrady, who put me on a 10-day transformation. I had leaky gut, unbeknownst to me. I did not know that. I had cystic acne, debilitating anxiety, food sensitivities. I mean, Melanie, this was so bad that I was sabotaging my relationships. And people who know me know that I'm like positive on purpose all times. But when we put ourselves on the back burner, it catches up to us very quickly. So through this superfood immersion and really kind of diving into gut health and learning what that actually means in the connection to the brain, I started seeing all of my symptoms go away so quickly when I started to heal on that cellular level. And 5 days into my 10-day transformation, my cystic acne was completely gone, which I could happy cry about. Because when I mean, I was in business, I was in sales and marketing, I owned a company, I'm networking. Confidence is key in being successful. And when you have things that are kind of blocking that, and you're not fixing them, your confidence levels decrease, which means you don't want to do the things you need to do to be successful in your business. So through this transformation, I just had this burning desire to help other entrepreneurs, specifically women, take control of their health so they can live their best life, be on that high vibration, and that naturally brings more success. So that's kind of where my journey started. And it's evolving over time every single day, which is so beautiful.
I love that. And so can you take us through, like, what exactly was the 10-day superfood transformation? Like, was it just food? Like, what was involved in all of it?
It was just food and supplements. So it was whole food nutrition. It was, a lot of times we believe or we hear you are what you eat. In reality, you are what you absorb. And because I had leaky gut, I had holes in my microbiome, which is the lining of your gut. And it was causing these healthy foods that I was eating to get into my bloodstream and cause my body to go into an attack mode. So what the superfoods are designed to do, it's live enzyme superfood nutrition. So it's raw dehydrated, but I was also eating anti-inflammatory foods. And I was just allowing my body to heal itself on a cellular level and close the holes. So my body started to absorb the nutrients needed to heal itself. So, I mean, it was just food. I didn't starve. I didn't poop my pants, excuse me. But most people think when you're doing a transformation, you're going to be running to the bathroom. It was nothing like that. And the simplicity of it made me realize, wow, I didn't know this. So I know a lot of other people don't know this. And I just felt a void and a need to spread the word of superfood nutrition and the body's ability to heal itself when it's given the tools needed.
I love that. I think that is so, and I think that more and more people are buying into this. And, years ago, it was kind of like, oh, that's a crazy concept, but it's true. I think when we set the body up for success, it knows how to heal, right? Like there's nothing getting in the way. The body knows how to heal. And so I love that you said that.
Yeah. To touch on that, most people, I was one. Gluten intolerance, that's a joke. Is this just a new fad? And unfortunately, it's not the gluten, it's the chemicals that are sprayed on our food that's causing the body to go into these attack modes because it's breaking down internally, like at the cellular gut level. So.
Yeah, I'd love that. I want to back up just a little bit. So what made you, so you were in the holistic community and then you were led to this doctor. How did you know, can you take us through that? Like, how did you know that, okay, this is it? This, like, almost like going back to the hero's journey, like you heard the call, I need to heal. And then how did you know, like, this is the one, this is what it's going to do. This is going to be the transformation.
I believe in energy. I'm an empath. I feel on such a deep level. And when I met this woman, to preface, she actually specializes in stage 4 cancer patients. Mm-hmm. So that was huge for me. And I really was doing research on diet and just how the body was supposed to heal itself, but you don't know what you don't know until you know it. And honestly, I met this woman and I just felt like God sent her to I felt that God sent her to me. And I originally thought it was for me, and we'll get into this later, but I realized very quickly that it was bigger than me. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad I said yes. I'm not one to say no to many things. And I was in such a low place at that time in my life. I was like, whatever, I'll try anything to help me get out of the funk that I was in so I can start living life on purpose and at my high vibrational self that I know that I am.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, okay. So I'm curious. So I know that I do like a detox once a year. I'm actually in it now. I do it the spring and I love it. And I love detoxing more to like reset the body, but I also find I get so clear after day 3. It's like, I am so clear. I'm so in tune. Like, I love the feeling of it. So I'd love for you to speak a little bit, because yes, it was foods, but was there something else like emotionally that also aided in the transformation?
1000%. I believe that was my biggest transformation. Emotion is a vital role in healing. So if we heal the body, but we're not healing the mind, we still have a block. We're still not at optimal level. And what I found on this transformation, and just through changing my daily habits, and I'm an extremist, so everything changed in my house, my products, my food, all organic. Like, I'm like, if I'm doing it, I'm doing it. And I found that, and so are my clients say the same thing, is thank you so much. I lost the weight I wanted to lose and I feel better, but the mental clarity and the brain fog that's gone, the sleep that I'm getting, the energy that I have, I mean, it's like vibrations are high mentally. And food is part of that transformation. And that's what does it. When you're healing the gut-brain connection, I mean, 70% of your immune system lives in your gut. I think it's like 90% of your serotonin lives in you. They connect, they're connected. It's your second brain. So if your gut is compromised, your brain isn't optimized at its highest level. And I didn't know that until I started to really dive deep into gut health and what my own issues were to bring light to my clients and, speaking to my community. So yeah, I mean, it's huge what the body can do, but you have to fuel it on that cellular level. And the gut is the number one, in my opinion. I am not a doctor, but the number one thing I feel like we need to focus on healing, so that way the rest of the body works how it's supposed to.
Yeah, there was actually a quote, the place in Atlanta where I lived, where I would get my colonics, they had a quote on the wall by Hippocrates. I'm sure you know it, but it says, all healing begins in the gut. And it resonated with me deeply, although I don't know that I fully, even now, understand. Like, I love that you just said, like, the gut is the second brain. So I'd love for you to explain a little more, like really simplistically, like what exactly that means.
They share, they talk to each other. If I can make it as in simple layman terms, is that the gut and the brain talk to each other. And if the gut is off, the brain is not able to work at its optimal level. Does that make sense? So they share cells, they share a communication line where if the gut is not working properly, neither is the brain, nor the rest of the body. That's why you see a lot of autoimmune. I mean, we're the sickest we've ever been right now. Mm-hmm. And that's because there's no education or very little. I mean, the space is becoming huge on gut health. How can we heal the gut to heal the body, heal the mind, to heal the soul?
Mm.
Did I answer that how you wanted me to?
You did. Yes. No, I'm taking it in. So, cause it's such a big, yeah. Okay. So then I ask you, how can we heal the gut?
So I there's a product, a specific product, and I this isn't in any means to be salesy, but this is something that I've come across, and I've partnered with this company, but it's called Biomedic, and I highly recommend people researching it. And it is designed to detox glyphosate from the body. And that's the biggest player in why we are so sick as a world, and especially in the United States. And it detoxes glyphosate from the body, 74% from the body in 6 weeks, but it also reduces your C-reactive protein by 75% in that same amount of time. So your C-reactive protein is the inflammation marker in the body. Disease lives in an inflamed area. Inflammation is why we are so sick. It's where chronic disease lives. I mean, it's people don't realize how important reducing the inflammation inside of the body is. So that is a non-negotiable in my life. That was part of my transformation in healing my body. And if I had to eliminate everything else out of my diet and supplement cabinet, I would keep Biomedic. And I believe it should be in every household. That's just how passionate I am about that.
Yeah, I love that. But I'd love for you to explain, what is, I think you said
Glyphosate.
What is that?
So glyphosate is the #1 active ingredient in Roundup. This is mainstream now, the Monsanto case against Dwayne Johnson, the $289 million settlement, because he has terminal cancer due to spraying this chemical in the schoolyards. There is now 11,000 plus cases against Monsanto, which its higher company is Bayer. So I believe they dissolved Monsanto to kind of reduce the stigma around what's going on. But Bayer is the aspirin company. And they are the ones who, I mean, they rule the world. We could go so deep in this, and I'm so passionate about it. But glyphosate is sprayed on over 80% of our food. And if we're not eating organic all the time, non-GMO, which is expensive, and a lot of people can't afford to eat that way. But even so, if the organic farms are not far enough away from a conventional farm, the wind blows and you get the chemical on your food anyways. And what happens is you cannot wash glyphosate off. When you hear GMO, that means genetically modified. And what's happening is we're actually injecting the seed of the plant before it goes into the ground with GMOs. So it grows faster, it grows bigger. We can mass produce, foods and things like that. But what's happening is the body doesn't know how to break that down. It is invading us, and it's causing the holes inside of the gut microbiome, and it's causing ADHD, autism, cancer, chronic illness, autoimmune. I mean, that's where it's stemming from. If you look at a correlation chart to when glyphosate started heavily being sprayed on our crops in 1996, it started heavily being sprayed. And you look at the correlation chart to all these diseases and issues that's happening in the world, it rises together. And
yeah, no, that makes so much sense. I love your passion for this. I have so many questions. I'm like, Weird. But it's true. And I love that you say that, because you can hear like people have there's like this collective conversation around all of these things, like more and more disease cases, more and more, like you said, autism. And so, and it's hard to, and I know I've had this conversation before. I always thought, well, it's the air, it's the toxins, it's the stress level, but that makes sense that it's what we're ingesting. And there's part of me that feels like, and I heard this, I like buying only organic foods. But someone was telling me that even though it's got that USDA organic and you're going to Whole Foods and you're getting it, it's not necessarily completely safe. And so that's kind of what I'm hearing you say as well. If the wind comes and it hits it, like.
Right. And so to touch on, actually, it is in our air. It is on our water. It's on the grounds. We bring our kids to the playground. I live on a golf course. So when I sit outside on my back patio in the morning or in the afternoon, if I just want to get some fresh air, I see them spraying all these chemicals. And what's happening is I'm breathing that in because I live here on the golf course. So it's everywhere. And that's the thing, is like, we can't get away from it. Unfortunately, you could eat all, like I said, you could eat all organic, non-GMO forever and ever. You're still getting it inside of your body through the air, the water, and just, it's everywhere.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm curious. So I love that. I'm like going to order that like as soon as we hang up. But I am curious, like how, so I take a probiotic every day just for like, I guess what's told to you for like good gut health. Can you speak a little bit, or even taking this supplement, should you still take your probiotic, or can you speak towards probiotics?
You certainly can still take your probiotic. It is a pre and probiotic with humic and fulvic acid biometic. That's how it's designed. So I'm on something called a Core 4 nutrition, where I do not have to take a multivitamin or a probiotic because I'm getting all the nutrients I need from those core products that I take in my daily routine. But biometic is a pre and probiotic. So you could still take a probiotic on top of that. I take a digestive enzyme sometimes throughout my day, and I still take biometic. So it's no chemicals, no fillers, no binders. So you're just getting whole food nutrition, so that if you still want to do your daily routine and just add biometic in, that's totally fine. But yes, I believe probiotics are important. Definitely very, very important.
Yeah, but it sounds like with that supplement you're talking about, you get it both. Like, I'm all about, like, I don't want to take 20 pills. Like, I really want like one pill. You know what I'm saying? Like, just make it really easy and like set myself up for success. So that's great.
Yeah, that's the only product that I take every single day, on top of, I take my greens every day, but that's the only product that I take every single day, the only supplement.
Yeah. So I want to, I was just thinking about this. So there was, this was a while ago, it's probably like 2 or 3 years ago. And I was listening to Aubrey Marcus's podcast, and he had someone on, and she was talking about health and wellness, and they were talking about gut healing. And this is where I had heard it before, and I was, I'm aware of it, but it was this conversation that I was like, something clicked. And she said, and I'm probably going to botch this, but I'm going to say how I heard it. But basically, that in our guts, we have all of these like parasites and organisms, right? And so when we feed them like wheat and like, I don't want to use the word carbs, like wheat, like bread, gluten, all of these things that perhaps aren't good for us, they actually get bigger and louder. And so, and now that I'm thinking about it out loud, what you said about the brain and the gut, but basically that was where all those decisions we're making were coming from, that, not from here, they were actually like almost controlling the ship. And I thought, wow, that's really intense. And it makes sense when you think about, like, I know using myself, like when I would detox, or even after a colonic, like you feel like it's like that clear, you're really clear, the fog's lifted. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, we're mostly bugs and parasites, people. I know it's disgusting, but it's true. And we have good and bad bacteria, good and bad bugs inside of our body. And what happens is when we're ingesting dairy, gluten, and all of these things that are wreaking havoc, it's causing the bad bacteria to take over the good. So you want to balance. They work together, but when you're feeding one over the other, you're causing the issues to stem. So yeah, I mean, I love that she touches on that. And I respect everybody in this industry who's bringing to light, because people are like, parasites. I'm like, if you have a dog, you probably have parasites. If you sit on public toilets, you've got parasites. If you're eating sushi, you've got parasites. So people, and these are different things. And I'm a big proponent for parasite cleansing. I do one once a year. I travel a lot, so I'm constantly in contact with things that my body's not used to. So I definitely, you have to balance the good and bad bacteria inside the body.
I love that. So speaking of that, when you said you can either feed the bad bacteria or you can feed the good bacteria, what are other ways to feed that good bacteria?
Eliminating dairy and gluten and soy and sugar. But besides that, really focusing on that, detoxification. I swear I live on a cleanse, but I live on a modified cleanse. I just feel that way because I'm constantly just alkalining my body and making sure I'm like operating at optimal levels. So anti-inflammatory foods, the more color, the better. Like my my pantry is very bare because I eat all, whole food, real raw. I'm not a raw vegan or anything. I do eat animal protein, but I believe everything in moderation. And I don't want people to think that they can't have anything they love, because I'm all about balance. So I do not have dairy or gluten inside my house. But if I feel like I want to go out and have a craft beer and a piece of pizza, I'm going to do that. That's why I take Biomedic every day, because I'm constantly detoxing the bad as it's coming in to keep my body in balance.
I love that. That's great. That's super, super helpful. So, okay. So I'm curious, how do you work with clients? So like, what is the journey like when you're working with these clients, when you're helping them get to that optimal state that you've achieved in your own life?
Yeah. So we dig to the root cause. I am such a believer in root cause. Unfortunately, we are a society of medicine, and usually we're taking 3 times the amount than our body needs. So I definitely, I connect with my clients on such a deep level, and I'm there for them to dig deep, and I ask them the hard questions, because a lot of times you're surface level until you're prompted to go a little deeper and find out where everything is stemming from. So usually, 9 times out of 10, my clients have some sort of a gut issue. We live in a society where most people, leaky gut is not a term that people don't know anymore. People are very aware of what leaky gut means. And a lot of times, and it's a loose term, but a lot of times, that's where all their issues are stemming. So I deal with a lot of clients on that level and healing their gut, but every protocol is different. So we really I tailor it to fit the needs of that particular person. And again, I work with a lot of women entrepreneurs to get them back to their high vibrations, so that way they can build their business how they want to.
Yeah, because I love that, because it's so true. And I think a lot of times, and I'm sure you probably see it in what you're doing. I know I see it. Now, I wouldn't vocalize it as health, but it's like, I can understand that, where it's like things get in the way. Like people have these big dreams and they have something they want to accomplish, but yet there's no follow through on it. And it's like, so one of the things I'm looking at is, okay, let's deal with the emotional body. Like, let's look at what's underneath and let's heal that. And that's pretty much what you're doing. And you're using sort of food and wellness as the catalyst to help them. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I'd love to hear, like, what are some things that you've noticed, like with your clients? Like, what have you seen? Like, what are some of like the amazing stories?
I have so many. So this one in particular, she's an older woman. She I think 56, 57. And it was actually a referral from another one of my clients. And this woman had been dealing with psoriasis and eczema for 12 years. She's tried every topical, every medication, anything that you can think of to heal this. Something that you're embarrassed. It's all over your skin. And she had it on her face, on her neck, on her arms. So it was very hard for her to hide it. And I put her on a 40-day ultimate nutrition, which is just the superfood immersion. And then something that's called a maintenance. So that way she can really dig deeper into what's going on in the body. And it's a lifestyle change. So through the first 10 days, her eczema and psoriasis was completely gone. And she called me crying. She's like, what is this? Am I allowed to take what I'm taking? Because this is and it's a simple, food is medicine, plants are medicine. If we use them in the right way, our body will heal itself. And a lot of times we don't allow our body to heal itself because we listen to, if my arm is falling off, I want you to reattach it. But if I'm trying to heal on an internal issue, I am going to go to food first all the time.
Yeah, I love that. I agree with that. I would say food and then also the emotional cause. And I think that's the thing. It's like, you see this so many times, like people, it can be like weight loss, it can be skin conditions, it can be even cancer. Like a lot of times you'll see these things, there's these quick fixes, but then it comes back. And I think it's because if we don't get to that root cause, if we're just band-aiding over it, it's not really healing. So it's like we've got to bring it up in order to heal it.
Yes, I agree. And to touch on the cancer aspect, and I know I said in the beginning of this interview or this conversation, this intentional conversation, that my purpose became bigger than me. And that is because 6 months after I was healing myself and on this new journey, my mom got diagnosed with stage 3 lung cancer. And I realized, and I don't know why I'm getting emotional. I'm sorry. I didn't expect that. But I realized that this wasn't for my own healing journey, that this was for my mom. And she did decide to go chemo radiation, which you have to believe in your treatment. I do not believe that it's one way or the other. I believe that, like we're talking about a mental, emotional level, you have to believe in what you're doing. But she is doing the chemo and radiation, and we also have her on a holistic protocol of superfood nutrition, of biomedic, of high potency aloe vera, 40X. We have her on homeopathics. So while her immune system is breaking down, we're also building it back up. So that, I just think that's such a beautiful thing that people need to be aware that traditional isn't bad. There's purposes, but I think that there's such a good marry between the two. And healing your body. So I wanted to touch on that because that really is near and dear to my heart. And I feel like that's changed my vision and my mission over time and it's made it stronger. It's made it so much deeper inside of me that this is a message that we need, because prevention is key. You don't want to be like, oh shit, I have cancer. Now what do? You want to say, no, I'm doing everything I can possibly do to heal my body. So I'm preventing disease and I'm preventing cancer and I'm preventing things that are going to come 30 years from now.
Yes. I love that. And I think that that's the thing. It's like you went into it for your own wellness and then that healed. And then you're like, okay. And then having your mom on a deeper level. Cancer is definitely, it's a little, not that cystic acne and stuff isn't bad, but cancer is a little,
it's real.
Yeah, it's pretty real. So I think that it's so great that you did start this journey and how it is connected to her and like how you're able to help her in ways that before you went through your own journey, perhaps wouldn't have been able to help her.
Talk about a hero's journey, right?
Yeah.
I love that you bring light to that, listening to that message. Like, don't say no before you know why it's coming into your life. And I think quieting your mind, I prayed on it and there were things that like, is this something that I should be doing? Should I? Because I was in sales and marketing. I was making I loved what I was doing. I wasn't fulfilled, but I was doing what I was doing and I was living very comfortably. And, that's why I was like, is this really? And it was such a strong pull that we have to make sure we're listening to that, because the plan and the hero's journey, it may not show itself right away, but it's in there. And that's why I think that story is so powerful, is that it shows itself over time. And you'll know if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
I love that. That's beautiful. How is your mom she's still in the treatments?
She is. So her last round of chemo is actually this Friday, April 5th. And her last round of radiation is the following week. So she's so excited. She gets to ring the bell at Moffitt Cancer Center that she's done with her chemo, and I'll be there with her when she does that. And then we find out if she's cancer-free in July. So I know she goes back for some other scans and things like that to see what the activity is doing. So we have all the faith in the world. I believe she beat it. She believes she beat it.
And believing is everything. That's the thing. I think the believing is everything. And I want to touch a little bit on what you were saying. I agree with that. Like, I am very holistic and I don't I don't love pharma. I don't necessarily love doctors, but I'm with you. If I'm in a horrible car accident, like I'm good. Like take me
Right.
to the doctor. Like if I need stitches, take me to the doctor. But I think that it's whatever works for you. And it's more of like a yes and. It's like you can have, I think there are good things to doctors, right? Like, and I think there are also good things to more holistic emotional wellness, listening to the body. And so I think combining both, to me, that feels very reasonable. And I think that it's good for all of us to know. And I think more and more the information is getting out there where you have choices, right? But you get to connect to something deeper inside of you and then make the choice from there. Don't make it because a guy in a white coat is telling you you should do this.
Right.
Right. And so, and
I
I
agree.
think I agree. It's whatever's going to make it you believe and know that this is working. And if that means having a chemo port, by all means do it. But let's also be working at that root cause. And let's also be working the emotional and then including supplements as well.
Absolutely. Mind and body have always been separate. They should never be separate because they work together. And I think that's one thing that I want to bring to light. And I have, a new business venture that's coming soon. I'm so excited to talk about it, but I can't talk about it yet. But it's something where the mind and body shouldn't be separate. And I think that especially with mental health and what's going on in our society around that if we can have a place where people can get all of their treatments, all of what they're looking for, that's where the power happens, because mind and body, it's no longer separate. It's together. It's whole health, right? Being holistic means whole health.
Mm. Why do you think that like it was separated? Like, do you get a sense of that? Like why it was kept separate?
I believe everything's a business. And I think maybe because, number one, I don't know, again, I'm not a doctor. I didn't go to get my PhD anywhere, but I don't believe that they're educated on certain things that I feel like they should be to incorporate the whole health aspect. I feel like the education is revolving around pharmaceuticals because, again, big pharma rules, big agriculture rules. So the curriculum and what the doctors are learning isn't necessarily what the body needs for the healing process. So I think there's a big disconnect in that area. And this is just my personal opinion in what I believe, but I just want to make sure I don't want to offend anybody because I believe there's a purpose for both. But I do believe that there could be more education revolving around the gut-brain connection and how important and vital nutrition plays into the body's healing journey, as well as getting the mind in optimal levels, because depression and mental illness is huge in our society, and it's very sad.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, I love that. And I'm excited. It sounds like what you're working on. I was going to ask you like, okay, so how do we start merging the two? Like, and it sounds like you're creating something for that, but even just like in general, like, do you get a sense of like how we can start like shifting that paradigm?
Google University is your best friend. You know what I mean? I really do think that when we educate ourselves, it takes a village to spread a message.
Mm.
And, I believe, and a lot of my business partners and people that I work with, health coaches and doctors and practitioners, our mission is to use our voice to end human suffering, is to use our voice to educate and inspire and empower people, but women, I'm focused on women, to take their health back. And I think that, the paradigm shift happens whenever you see that there's a void, and take this conversation that we're having right now, go and do some of your research. Talk to somebody about a product called Biomedic. Talk to somebody about glyphosate. Talk to somebody about the body's ability to heal itself through nutrition, and say, I don't really know about it, but it sparked an interest in me to bring awareness to this issue. And I want to do my own research and find out how I can be an advocate in that space.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I think ultimately it starts, as with anything, right? Like in life, in business, it starts with just taking really simple, small steps. So, like, what can you do today in order to sort of add more of that? It could be taking the supplement. It could be, you know what, I'm going to buy all my fruits and vegetables will be organic. Or like, it's just those simple, simple steps that set us up for success. I don't think you have to go like 0 to 1,000 in a day. I don't know that
Nope.
that's really sustainable.
It's not sustainable. And to touch on, just a resource that if you guys are listening, the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15 are two amazing lists that you can look at. They're on Google. You can find them on Google. The Dirty Dozen should never be bought unless it's organic. Strawberries are at the top of that list. So if you're buying strawberries, always buy those organic because they're the most heavily sprayed with glyphosate. Same as spinach, So looking at those lists, so that way you don't feel overwhelmed, like I have to buy all of my groceries organic. No, but focus on starting here. And then you'll start to, as you learn more and grow, you'll start to add in new things. So yeah, don't overwhelm yourself because like you said, it's not sustainable. You will quit. And that's not what you want to do. You want to make it a journey and sort of like growing.
I love that. I usually end with one simple, tangible tip, and I feel like you just gave it to us in that is truly something that someone is listening or that they're watching that they can literally do right now in order to see the results that they're looking for. So unless there's anything else you'd want to add to that, I think that's an excellent tip.
I think that's great. I think, I mean, this was an amazing conversation. I'm so happy that you allowed me to bring to light something I'm passionate about. I hope it inspired someone to take their health into their own hands or realize that there is hope and that when we are told we have a disease that we are not our, our diagnosis. We're not our diagnosis.
Right. And that's the thing. It's like we are like at our core, all of us, whether you're highly sensitive or not, every single person has an inner knowing. Like we all do. And so I think that it's really taking that power back and it's about listening and trusting and knowing that you're being guided. And then also setting ourselves up for success, especially as things are changing in our environment with the foods, having supplements, having different resources that we can use to help it out.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that.
There was that Heal documentary, which I feel like I was very late to the party, but I just watched it on Netflix and I just found it so amazing. Like they did an excellent job of compiling it in a really simple way that made a lot of sense. And that was very like, aha.
Absolutely. I loved that documentary. And I think they did a really good job at marrying all the different types of treatments and the different specific doctors and the way the body, the levels of healing for the body. And emotional was top notch for them. Believing
Absolutely.
in your treatment, understanding on an emotional level, mind is so powerful.
Yeah.
But the mind doesn't work at optimal levels unless we're healing our gut, unless we're, you know what I mean? So
that's what I love about this is it's like, yes, it's like, okay, it starts with the emotion, but then like the food, that's the catalyst for like having it. You know what I mean? So I love the work that you're doing. I'm so grateful.
yeah.
So before we end, I want you, where can people find you online and tell us what's next for you? What are you most excited about?
Okay. So you can find me on Instagram at Rachel, RACHEL _Brea, BREA. And then if you would like to know about my new venture, Whole, WHOLE, Health, mg.com. Enter your email in there and then you'll get some updates on what's happening soon. That's going to be an exciting project that's coming. And that's what I'm most excited. I'm most excited about the future. I'm most excited about the present. I'm here. I'm now. How many people can I help? And one thing that I say to myself, and I want to, this is my why. If I can help one person every single day, I am successful. And I just truly believe that if my voice can help one person in any way, maybe I sparked something in them and I don't even know about it, but I've touched one person every single day, that's success to me.
I love that. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for being here. You can really feel on you your light and your energy and your passion for this. And I love you sharing your why. And I can feel just in this, conversation how much that came through. And I have no doubt that you will impact so many. So thank you. Thank you for sharing your message and your work with all of us. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. So much to process. I'm so grateful for Rachel coming on and not only sharing her expertise, but also her own journey, her own hero's journey, and how it led her to what she's doing now. I have no doubt that you're walking away from this episode inspired and probably learning a thing or two, which is, I love that. So please share this with someone. Remember, we all learn together. We grow together. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'll see you the next time on the next Intentional Conversations. Until then, have a fantastic and intentional day.